So, about to introduce you to my most favorite character in all the books I've ever read, and that is Bartimaeus. In this book right here, there we go. Sugar, you gotta keep still, huh? The Bartimaeus trilogy, and it's the first book. So it's the Amulet of Samarkand, and it's by Jonathan Stroud. I thought it'd be fun, since everyone's doing Zoom during the coronavirus stuff, that I would put up this background as I did my reading, so it's like he's keeping me company. Okay, so our first chapter Friday reading is about to begin. I will have some images put up from this amazing graphic novel. Hold on one sec. Don't know why it doesn't. Oh, there we are. Well, I'll put up the picture of the cover after the fact. Okay, ready? Oh, I can't wait to share him with you. Bartimaeus. The temperature of the room dropped fast. Ice formed on the curtains and encrusted thickly around the lights and the ceiling. The glowing filaments in each bulb shrank and dimmed, while the candles that sprang from every available surface like a colony of toadstools had their wicks snuffed out. The darkened room filled with a yellow, choking cloud of brimstone, in which an indistinct black shadow writhed and roiled. From far away came the sound of many voices screaming. Pressure was suddenly applied to the door that led to the landing. It bulged inward, the timbers groaning. Footsteps from invisible feet came pattering across the floorboards, and invisible mouths whispered wicked things from behind the bed and under the desk. The sulfur cloud contracted into thick columns of smoke that vomited forth thin tendrils. They licked the air like tongues before withdrawing. The column hung above the middle of the pentacle, bubbling ever upward against the ceiling like the cloud of an erupting volcano. There was barely a perceptible pause. Then two yellow staring eyes materialized in the heart of the smoke. Hey, it was his first time. I wanted to scare him. And I did, too. The dark-haired boy stood in the pentacle of his own, smaller, filled with different runes, 3 feet away from the main one. He was pale as a corpse, shaking like a dead leaf in a high wind. His teeth rattled in his shivering jaw. Beads of sweat dripped from his brow, turning to ice as they fell through the air. They tinkled with the sound of hailstones on the floor. All well and good, but so what? I mean, he looked about 12 years old, wide-eyed, hollow-cheeked. There's not that much satisfaction to be had from scaring the pants off a scrawny kid. And now there is a footnote. Not everyone agrees with this. Some find it delightful sport. They refine countless ways of tormenting their summoners by means of subtly hideous apparitions. Usually the best you can hope for is to give them a nightmare later, but occasionally these stratagems are so successful that the apprentices actually panic and they step out of their protective circle. Then all is well for us, but that's a risky business. Often they're very well trained, and they grow up and get their revenge. Back to the story. So I floated and waited, hoping he wasn't going to take too long to get around to the dismissing spell. To keep myself occupied, I made blue flames lick up around the inner edges of the pentacle, as if they were seeking a way to get out and nab him. All hokum, of course. I'd already checked, and the seal was drawn well enough. No spelling mistakes anywhere, unfortunately. At last it looked as if the urchin was plucking up the courage to speak. I guessed this by a stammering about his lips that didn't seem to be induced by pure fear alone. I let the blue fire die away to be replaced by a foul smell. The kid spoke very squeakily. I charge you to get on with it. Tell me your name. That's usually how they start the young ones. Meaningless waffle. He knew, and I knew. He knew my name already. Otherwise, how could he have summoned me in the first place? You need the right words, the right actions, and most of all, the right name. I mean, it's not like hailing a cab. You don't just get anybody when you call. I chose a rich, deep, dark, chocolatey sort of voice, the kind that resounds from everywhere and nowhere and makes hair stand up on the back of inexperienced necks. Bartimaeus! I saw the kid give a strangled kind of gulp when he heard the word. Good. That meant he wasn't entirely stupid. He knew who and what I was. He knew my reputation. After taking a moment to swallow some accumulated phlegm, he spoke up again. I charge you again to answer. Are you that Bartimaeus who in olden times was summoned by magicians to repair the walls of Prague? What a time waster this kid was. Who else would I be? I upped the volume a bit on this one. The ice on the light bulbs crackled like caramelized sugar. Behind the dirty curtains, the window glass shimmered and hummed. The kid rocked back on his heels. I am Bartimaeus. I am Sakir al-Jini, Nogorso, the mighty and the serpent of silver plumes. I have rebuilt the walls of Urk, Karnak, and Prague. I have spoken with Solomon. I have run with the buffalo fathers of the plains. I have watched over old Zimbabwe till the stones fell and the jackals fell on its people. I am Bartimaeus. I recognize no master, so I charge you in turn, boy. Who are you to summon me? Impressive stuff, huh? All true as well, which gives it a more power. And I wasn't just doing to sound big. I rather hoped the kid would be blustered by it into telling me his name in return, which would give me something to go on when his back was turned. But no luck there. Footnote number 2. I couldn't do anything while I was in a circle, of course, but I'd be able to find out who he was, look for weaknesses of character, things in his past that I could exploit. They've all got them. You've all got them, I should say. By the constraints of the circle and the points on the pentacle and the chain of runes, I am your master. You will obey my will. There was something particularly obnoxious about hearing this old shtick coming from a weedy stripling, and in such a foolishly high voice, too. I bit back the temptation to give him a piece of my mind and intoned the usual response. Anything to get this over with quickly. What is your will? I admit I was already surprised. Most Tyro magicians just look first and ask questions later. They go window shopping, eyeing up their potential power, but are far too nervous to try it out. You don't often get a small one like this squirt calling up entities like me in the first place either. The kid cleared his throat. This was the moment. This is what he'd been building up to. He'd been dreaming of this for years when he should have been lying on his bed thinking about racing cars or girls. I waited grimly for the pathetic request. What would it be? Levitating some object was a usual one, or moving it from one side of the room to another. Perhaps he'd want me to conjure an illusion that might be fun. There was bound to be a way to misrepresent his request and upset him. I charge you to retrieve the Amulet of Samarkand from the house of Simon Lovelace and bring it to me when I summon you at dawn tomorrow. You what? Wait a minute. I felt that queasy sensation in my stomach that you always get when they dismiss you, like someone sucking out your insides through your back. They have to say it 3 times to get rid of you, if you're keen on sticking around. Usually you're not, but this time I remained where I was, 2 glowing eyes and an angry fug of boiling smoke. Do you know what you're asking for, boy? I'm neither to converse, discuss, or parley with you, nor to engage in any riddles, bets, or games of chance, nor to... I have no wish to converse with a scrawny adolescent. Believe you me, so save your rote-learned rubbish. Someone is taking advantage of you. Who is it? Your master, I suppose? A wizened coward hiding behind a boy? I let the smoke recede a little, exposing my outlines for the first time, hovering dimly in the shadows. You are playing with fire. Twice over, if you seek to rob a true magician by summoning me. Where are we, London? He nodded. Yes, it was London, all right. Some grotty townhouse. I surveyed the room through the chemical fumes. Low ceiling, peeling wallpaper, a single faded print on the wall. It was a somber Dutch landscape, a curious choice for a boy. I'd half expected pop chicks or football players. Most magicians are conformists, even when they're young. Ah, me! My voice was emollient and wistful. It is a wicked world, and they have taught you little. I'm not afraid of you. I have given you a charge, and I demand you go. The second dismissal. My bowels felt as if they were being passed over by a steamroller. I sensed my form waver, flicker. There was power in this child, though he was very young. It is not me you have to fear, not now, anyway. Simon Lovelace will come to you himself when he finds his amulet stolen. He will not spare you for your youth. You're bound to do my will. I am. I had to hand it to him. He was determined. Very stupid. His hand moved. I heard the first syllable of the systemic vice. He was about to inflict pain. I went. I didn't bother with any more special effects. And that ends chapter 1. Oh, I really hope you pick this book up. I can't say how wonderful enough it is. When I mentioned the footnotes, they happen throughout the book. Bartimaeus speaks to the author directly, breaking the fourth wall, much as, what's his name? Deadpool does. Okay, so if you think that type of humor is good, you're going to just love this series. And it becomes a story about a child who has been an abused magician, which sounds like Harry Potter, but it's not at all. It has a lot more layers to it, and there's a darker world where children are made to be apprentices to magicians, and then the magicians control this world of England. They use the power of the summoned genies and other supernatural beings to do their will, and they are definitely a nasty lot, these magicians. So the young boy who does the summoning becomes entrenched in all sorts of plots, and it's just fantastic. So please try it out, and we'll see you next Friday. Thank you for listening and watching. Bye-bye.